Good afternoon, folks. This is Darth Ravage here, so I'm coming to you with part 5 of the S02 seed from 01 Studio. Thank you guys again for hanging with me through this. I got 3 little sections. I want to show you some tips on whenever you're going to convert between modes, where the arms need to go, the legs need to go in their positions roughly once the panels have been removed. I also want to go over the LED install real quick, and then we're going to get that robot mode and some final thoughts and get you on your way, hopefully all within under the 10-minute mark. Thanks again. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, all that stuff down below. Thank you again for watching. And I just want to take one more look and spin at this beautiful planet Cybertron as we go back into Primus's robot mode. And the first thing you want to do is get rid of the spikes first. I'm going to keep the spikes in a baggie. It's nice and safely sealed so we don't lose those. And let's start separating what I call the south and the north, because you're going to flip this back over and boom and have that stuff going on. So I'm going to lift this up and show you that. A fun thing you can do if you start with the city up here on the top is you can actually pop those up and have little missile things out there on the sides, but that kind of breaks the disguise. Let's continue. Once flipped over, I got to get this stuff up first, and then everything else can start falling apart as you go along. Like I said and stated from the get-go, guys, this thing is not for the faint of heart, but you got your legs going this way and how it should be locked in. You can see inside of there, there's those panels. These guys kind of free floated right here inside of there, but then there's the arms, ultimately the 4 arms, and how you have to have that little piece segmented there. I'm going to try to turn on a flash to just illuminate a little bit what I'm talking about. And in order to get to fit flush, you got the shoulder region. These things like to flop open on you as you do it, but I mean, if you get it in there and you get it tight, then these will ultimately, the skirts will actually peg in better at first than the other pieces there, but you'll see what I'm talking about if you dare brave this thing's transformation. And you can see it again here. There's that little zigzag there. There's what consists of the legular region, and there's the feet again. Boom, it just kind of folds up in on itself there. But we're going to keep going. This is one of 2 blind tabs that you have right here that tabs to the inner part of the arm there. Once you do get everything lined up just ever so the right way there. And everything is symmetrical, like this piece is folded up and around the foot there, and then this one's up and around this one, but it's really amazing that it even got to this position anyway. But you got to get this guy to come back across and this guy to come back across, and they go their own separate ways from around the head. My hat's off to any reviewer that does these things on camera, because this is just a mess. And these underdomes, you got to get them to flip and connect back to itself, like on the bottom there, as I kind of showed, just barely there. Once you get into this home stretch right here where these 2 back halves have to peg into each other, and you get these 2 splits to come back through, these come back all the way through, and then you feed it. See, this right here came out on the bottom, so I gotta pull that foot back down and realign that real quick. It's a slightly easier squeeze if you disengage the foot like this, to where you can get that squished flush together. Then you can just rotate that back into place there on the bottom. So there's what it should kind of look like, and you will probably smash your fingers when you're trying to get these hips to get back in here and peg back in, so you got that peg and stuff. Whenever you did the transformation, I'm going to raise this up real quick here, just a little bit here, so you can see the waist. These panels are extended out, so make sure to shove them back in, then fold them down. Again, on the other side, you want to shove those back in and then fold them down. And you can bring this on down and kind of lay it out there. Same thing on the other side, you can bring this down and lay it out there. And then we can start adjusting this lower part at the waist to get it back into the, now we're shaping up into a robot. Also close, but yet so far, we gotta get those shoulders swung back around and fix these arms. This is about the easiest way to get at these shoulder bits, to get them back into place, and you just want to do one at a time. Just get them out here and move this up out of the way as you go, and move this up out of the way as you go. Get them together there underneath and then peg together just like that. Then it should slot back into the top of that there. I'm going to do that off camera. And there you got a shoulder staged all there together. You got to get that peg into that hole. Same thing on the front. You got to get that peg into that hole and compress it together. And there you have a shoulder all done. Same thing to the other side. Time to work on getting these forearms back into shape there. You got to click it over a pop there and then spin it around where you have your elbow joint back, and just like I showed you in the tutorial. So with that said and done, that's the positions you want to have it in. Let me get that other arm. I leave these guys out to the side so I can get at this outer access to get the wrist and the hands out. Trying to fold in those forearms and pop up the head. And there we have a fully robot, all decorated out look. And because the way things fold in on themselves, guys, you don't see all the itty bitty bulbs there. So on to the next thing. I got a head and chest installed with those little LEDs. Let's get those guys in there and see them light this guy up. In order to do that install, you just got to take off this front part of his head or his face, and you got his eyes left over. You want to get that LED placed up in there just as ever so close to those eyes, because I've seen where other folks have had trouble getting these eyes to light up. And I may end up doing another project and unscrewing that and going in there and getting all that nice gold off of there just to see the light up feature. But we're going to try it without the mod first. And I advise you to do one more test of the LED, if it'll focus in here. Take the back of the head and go, whoops, right down on it. Make sure that bad boy lights up. The magnets are inside of the back of the head. Boom, there it is one more time. So let's get that planted. I'm going to try to do it from this angle right here, just to get it in there. I'm going to actually put the little bumpers that this thing came with. It's got little tiny pads to hold it in there, so I'm going to install those little pads right down inside of there. Now we got the pad kind of there with it and the microchip board right there. I'm going to test it one more time to see if we can get some action there. And test is successful, guys. I'm going to turn the flash off. You can see it barely illuminating. We're going to get the mouth back together and retest. And with that test going, I can't really access it. Sorry about the interruption, guys, but this is the glow you get whenever you do get that on. So I'm going to turn the light back on, install that back on, and get the chest installed. I'm testing the other module before inserting it into the chest. And test successful. And now we will test one more time with the lights out. Those other eyes are on right there, so we're going to go over here and touch his chest with the magnets in the bottom of Alpha Trion. And there you have him with his lights on, guys. Just looking absolutely spectacular for a little light up feature action there. And for whatever reason, I don't know why it's giving me that, unless it's just from off of this light. And then boom, I got a little glow there. But that looks pretty freaking sick, guys. I mean, the eyes pick up better on camera than they do actually in that. I'll figure out another fix for those backlit eyes there, because I don't think it's the strongest, but a good demonstration of what happens when you do get it together. Get the lights back on, and then some final thoughts. Some final thoughts, guys. I gotta start here, kind of like in the neutral zone, and let you know again, because I've said it before, you got to handle this guy with care. He has some extremely pointy parts, especially where you see those spikes sticking out. There's usually, especially on these forearms, there's another set of spikes inside of those spikes. You will prick your finger. With that said, the big cons that'll turn a lot of people off is the price. Anything over $300 in my book is a bit much for a transforming robot. But this thing is a masterpiece version of a character we've never gotten before, and a third party beat Hasbro to the punch. The transformation and the journey from robot to planet and back to robot again is also not a whole lot of fun. But if you stick with to it, that gets into the pros of it's very rewarding in both robot mode and in planet mode. You get like two things in Transformers most of the time, but this is like a distinct version of Cybertron when it's in his op mode, and then you get a very awesome looking robot mode there. And this head is every bit awesome. I love that comic book head. That's why I'm doing half of this with this on, and the other half I'm going to switch out to the other head. The other negative I have before we get into the pros is you take tiny bulbs like here and here and here and here, and there's a bunch on the inside of the legs that you can't see unless you put it in planet mode. There's just so much of those, and you got to use tweezers and a lot of patience and an X-Acto to get them off the sprue. I just feel like for the $300 price, those should have been installed already. Now let's get into the pros. Like I said, under those positives, you get a ton of detail, guys. Everything from the spark chamber looking thing right here that could double as a plasma energy core, even an all spark, to the globes that you have to install on all over the place, the spikes. Even the spikes have details on their details, and all the city details that goes on throughout. You can see some of that city stuff on the leg there. And as you go around the side, I mean, everything has something to every bit. The side of the arm has something to look at. When you go back here to the back, you have a spinal column and this excellent articulation, like I said, throughout. You don't get that in a Titan class figure most of the time, guys. That is spectacular. I love that. You get two joints there that you don't usually get. They can both spin all the way around in a circle. And as you keep going, there's just detail. There's nothing left out. There's no hollow spaces. Even inside those legs is the outer shell of this thing. So everything has a rhyme and a purpose. The only time that you get any kind of like hollowness is when it is in planet mode. And the planet mode is naturally going to have the hollowness because this is the best version of a shell former I've ever seen. I love these cannons that come out of his legs there. I love these chest cannons that are hiding within the chest on both sides, front and back. I love the symmetry that's into this thing. It looks really, really awesome. Even the gold, no matter the heads, the golden eyes look really, really good. So I've actually ran over just a little bit. And another thing I kind of wish, it's kind of teased right here, is you got those little bulbs lighting up right here. I thought it might have done something like that. That would have been really cool. And that's definitely cool when you do some photography and you get to see this stuff light up in the photography. If you've checked out, on the Facebook groups or anything, you could see where I took tons of pictures of this and to demonstrate that. And the Spade Brush doubles as a stand for the flight for the thing. And we get that Space Bridge back up here again. There's that loose head there because I took that apart so that Alphatron could demonstrate his little bit of waist stuff there in the middle. And there's that other little bitty bit. That Space Bridge is pure win. The fact that they even thought about giving it some rubber mats to keep it from sliding around, that's so very, very cool. G1 Space Bridge, huge hit with this. I mean, you set it down there, boom, there it is. You got your Space Bridge. He can carry around on his back. He uses it as a stand in his planet mode. And the lights, I love anytime that you get light up features. I just hate that between the lights and the bulbs you had to install everything, but that's okay. It's part of the fun of having this, and it's like you have a newfound respect for those that do the Gundam model builds, because they do that times 1,000 of what I just did. Very, very good tight articulation. The articulation is top notch for Titan, and this should be a standard moving forward, be it Masterpiece or Titan. That's going to do it for this guy. My final thoughts. I've ran a little bit over, but guys, this thing is solid. I highly recommend it if you're wanting to complete this 01 Studio. If you got Cell, you'll need Seed here. And buy Primus Rocks. This thing is solid and awesome. And even with this difficult transformation, I absolutely love it. They even thought about the little mechanism to keep the head popped up. I mean, they thought about a lot of things. I'm hoping that with future endeavors, if Zeta 01 Studio keep doing this stuff, they'll figure out a way to get that fun interjected into the transformation. Because while it is a lot of work, it is hugely rewarding, guys. Thanks again for sticking with me this long. You guys make sure to like, share, subscribe, all the stuff down below. That's going to wrap it up. Part 5, last of the series for the 02 S02 Seed, also known as Primus, and by Cybertron. This rocks, man. I love this thing. Okay, guys, you guys have an excellent week out there. Thanks again for your time. And as always, until all are one, guys, have a great week.